Welcome to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we explore key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Saige Anderson, and you're listening to episode 91, Women in Trucking, Julie and Brenda on stories, stereotypes, and success. Today, we're going to be debunking the mysteries of women in trucking, while we learn about two brave women on the road. Join us as we learn about their trials, challenges, and triumphs now on our featured exchange. Thank you guys so much for being here. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
My name is Julie. I'm a driver.
I'm Brenda, and I'm a driver.
Okay. How long have both of you been at Nussbaum?
The end of March was 3 years.
Okay.
And I started on Valentine's Day of last year.
Wow, that's very romantic.
Yeah. It's a love relationship.
And so you two know each other well because you spent, 3 weeks together, you said, training?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you start off telling me a little bit, something that you learned about each other during that training time?
I had this whole thing prepared about how much I love Julie. Julie really, she's a fantastic trainer, and she is super ambitious. Like, she's a go-getter, and I really love that about her. She's got a great personality, very patient. Like, she was so patient with me, this poor woman. But, and she loves nature. Like, we had such a blast just going out and seeing things, and she made sure to take lots of pictures while I was driving, and we had a lot of fun, I think. But she, we had fun, but she mixes it well with training.
Okay.
So it's not just this grueling, do this, do that. And she taught me the majority of what I know I learned from Julie on my training. So, yeah.
That's
highly
awesome.
Respected. Very highly respected.
Well, thanks. So as far, I think we had a good time. We went out west and we went out east. So it was a lot of driving, talking.
Yeah.
We were able to go and see some of the scenic areas, good food.
Yeah.
So as far as with, Brenda's really easy to train because she wants to learn, and she's very trainable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then just in general, talking to her just about her family, dogs. She's very passionate about all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has just a very good heart and very determined.
Yeah. I think it's just neat that sometimes some personalities just automatically click together. Like, you just can be buddies right off the bat. So it's neat to see that with you two.
Yeah.
The other day... Oh, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's crazy, though, because, when she said, a good mix, and that's a battle with being a trainer. Mm-hmm. Because, how I have to be with my students, I'm not what I'm teaching, I honestly do, but I run so much harder when I'm by myself, so that's hard when I first get somebody, and at the very beginning, I'm not sure if I did a great balance with that, you know? And so I always try to tell everybody, especially at the beginning, hey, I'm almost learning also with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to do a lot better, and I'm open for ideas and suggestions too.
Yeah.
So
do you know off the top of your head how many students you've trained so far?
I don't. Literally before last couple weeks, I think at least 10 weeks I've had a student.
Okay.
I don't think I'd been by myself.
Wow.
So, because I had done, I just got back from being west, and then I had that one east, and then I had a new one for 3 weeks, and so it's hard. Some of them I get back, I train them for a couple weeks, and I get back to do after they're on their own.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Wow. That's.
I never even thought about that. Really, how many?
It's a good. Yeah. It's a nice stat to have. The other day, CJ, one of our recruiters, asked me to count how many women we had at Nussbaum, and I was like, I can send you the spreadsheet and you can count them because we've got 515-ish drivers right now.
Okay.
So he did the counting, and any guess? Want to guess how many women we have in the driver's seat?
I'm going to say about 35 to 40.
I was going to say 30.
Okay, 37.
that's a good question, because I always have wondered how many. I see them, and I kind of just guessed with that. But
yeah, you were spot on.
I knew we had more than I thought.
Yeah.
So, and we're starting to see a lot more of them.
Mm-hmm. I'd say almost each orientation class, it seems like there's one in there. And so I'd love to ask you guys, like, why are you in this industry? Do you feel like this is a safe industry for women, a place that you can thrive, or like what, you're kind of the minority, so what?
Yeah, it's definitely a male industry. For me, I honestly, how I started, I really wasn't getting into trucking. I was working in healthcare, and I was trying to get in where I lived to drive a snowplow.
Okay.
And they hire you, basically the city hires you 1 day a week, and I was working 4 days, so that would have worked perfectly. So I went and got my CDL for that, and it just didn't work out. And then I went to ICC for school, and they always said, don't let your CDL sit too long, it doesn't look good. And so I kind of just put it out there, and then it just kind of happened.
Okay.
And then, when I came here for my interview, talking to Tian, I felt like I was talking to my mom. And I told her that. And,
so sweet.
And then just the building and the atmosphere, I didn't know anything about the trucking. So, but when I left, literally, they called me on my way home and offered me the job, and it was like a no-brainer for me. I was like, so it happened, and literally, like, everybody knows I love my job. People that know me, they're like, you just love your job. And I'm like, I definitely do.
Yeah.
So.
And you've definitely used, I feel like any way that you can grow, you've stepped into that, whether it's becoming a road captain, a trainer, certified ride. So it's just really neat to see in 3 years how much you could accomplish starting from just a newbie of like having to go through everything.
And it's, even thinking of that though, I didn't plan none of that. I think that's the thing though, when you think about it, like, just doing the certified red, it was like, why am I not going to do this to make more money to run the same miles?
Yeah.
And really, it just keeps you educated. And so for me, with that, it was like, and then just the training, that was asked, and it was like, yeah, I'll try it. And, there's rough spots doing training, but it's rewarding also.
Yeah.
So seeing people that are still here, over a year later.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
yeah, Brenda, I'd love to hear your story too.
My story is very different than Julie's. So I guess when I was a young teenager, I don't know, you guys probably don't even know, I'm too old, but BJ and the Bear used to be like a show. And I always thought, oh, how cool would that be to be a truck driver, And then it just kind of went away. And then life happens, you get married, you have kids, and never really thought about it again. And fast forward 35 years, and I found myself, my kids are grown, and they're out of the house, and I'm single, and my income is horrible. I'm working a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs, and I'm still broke. And why am I doing all this for a house when I can't enjoy it because I'm always working? And I wanted the house so that family could come and visit, but I'm never home.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a catch-22, and I'm like, I'm not getting any younger. Like, time it doesn't stop for anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I can't keep working 3 jobs forever. So,
do you mind if I ask, what were the jobs? Or?
I was a facility services manager for a drug and alcohol rehabilitation inpatient center.
Okay.
So like a 30-day center.
Yeah.
Clients would come and get clean and go through programs and things, and I was the mom of the house. They called me Mama B, and that's where B came from, Mama B. So I wore many hats there, and it truly was one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, I was in the restaurant industry, and I did a lot of training in the front of the house. I was always like the front house person. But again, it was always really super hard manual labor, and the pay was not always that great.
Yeah.
And so one day, I was, in addition to the full-time job at the rehab center, I also did Instacart shopping and delivering groceries, and then I also was an Uber driver.
Okay.
And so the Uber driver, I picked up a gentleman from the rail truck line from the drop yard. And, the casual conversation that you always have with your Uber driver, when did you become a truck driver, And he's like, oh, I only have, 2 more months and the truck's going to be mine. I'll have it paid off. I'm like, what do you mean, And one thing led to another, and we just started conversating about his job and how excited he was. And I'm like, I always thought about doing that, but, now I have a dog. And he's like, well, they take dogs. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, what do you mean? And he's like, you can take your dog with you. And that was completely new to me. I had no idea. And I just started to think about it when he was telling me, like, how much he was bringing home. And I'm like, woof, man, that's more than I make with 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And then I started watching a lot of YouTube videos. Shelby Trucker Girl, I don't know if you guys ever, she's fantastic. She has this YouTube show called Happiness by the Mile. And she's just this single woman out there, and she keeps it real. I mean, she's on there with no makeup, and she's got a black eye because she fell or something. And, she's chaining up her tires. I mean, and she just, lays it out there one day at a time. And I started following her, and I just got really excited about it. So I decided that's what I was going to do. And I thought I did a lot of research on companies. You really got to do your research on companies. Yeah. Very important. So I thought I did enough. I decided to go to training through a company-sponsored program. And I'm going to leave them nameless.
Sure.
But it was not a good experience. But I gave up my job. I gave up my job, and I was going to live on my vacation pay, right? That's going to get me through my training period, my vacation pay, and I had no savings because I was barely making ends meet. So I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. This is going to save my house. I almost sold my house. I mean, I was so broke. And so I go down, and I'm going through this program, and I did the whole program. It was a month. And at the end of the program, the classroom and all the training and stuff, they have you do the DOT, the test, the CDL test. And I failed it on the first time. I passed my pre-trip, aced it. But then I failed one of my backing maneuvers. No surprise there.
Doesn't look easy.
But they didn't let me test again. They're like, that's it. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean that's it? And they're like, well, we're not going to let you test again. And I'm like, but everybody gets 3 chances here. And he's like, well, that's up to us, and we're not going to let you test again. And so I was devastated. I had nothing left. I had nothing. And it was Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, sorry, because I had spent Christmas there. It was New Year's Eve day. So I'm driving home in my car, broke. Had no idea how I was going to pay my mortgage. No job, no CDL. And I called my mom, and I'm like bawling, and thank the Lord for my mom. She's like, just come here, regroup. We'll get you through this. We'll figure it out. And I'm, okay. Okay. So I went to my mom, and she hugged me, and I just got on the phone. I'm like, I need a phone book. I need to find somebody. I just need more time with that truck. So I found somebody that rented out his truck for a certain amount. I don't remember how much it was per hour. And if you wanted him to help you as well, it was an additional fee. So I'm like, well, all right, let's do that. I knew I just needed more time.
That's incredible that you could find that.
Yeah. Well, and it's when you go to these company-sponsored places, there's a group of 30 students, and there's maybe 2 trucks. Yeah. So you're lucky if you get to do a backing maneuver once or twice. That's on a good day. Yeah. And you're standing on this pad all day long waiting for your turn. And you're watching one at a time do this maneuver. And it was cold. It was December, and you're freezing. It was just a horrible experience. Horrible. But with all that, I knew I needed to follow through. I had no options.
Yeah.
I had no options. This was it. And so I found this guy, and he let me drive his truck. He's like, come on out. I'll give you the keys. Let me know when you start. Let me know when you're done. I'm going to go plow some roads, and I'll be back. And that's how it went. I went to see him 3 times. He went with me twice. And the last time I went with him, I had his truck for 3 hours. And I just did it over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And he also was a third-party testing site for DOT. Now, this was before, I think it was like 2 weeks later, they changed the rule or whatever where you got to show classroom time and all that, which I already had. But I took my test and I passed it the first time.
Aww.
So, but in this process of training, on my way home from the company-sponsored program, I was devastated, like I said, just crying, and I happened to see a Nussbaum trailer. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I'm a crier. You know that. I happened to see a Nussbaum trailer, and on the back it said, "We are purpose-driven." And I was like, I know in my heart what that means, but I'm like, I wonder if that means what I think it means. Because I had never heard of Nussbaum before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder if that means what I think it means. And I got on the internet, and I was doing research, and I watched Brent's video. And I knew it was...
You're okay. It's okay.
I knew it was meant to be. I mean,
You're emotional. We're okay.
I know. I'm such a basket case. I just knew that it was, everything happens for a reason, and the Lord led me here. I believe He didn't want me there at that other place. There was something better out there for me.
Yeah.
And after I did my research, I called and I talked to Saige, and bless his heart, I was his first hire.
Aww.
I was his first hire. And I told him on the phone, I said, mark my words, I'm going to be your first certified red driver.
Aww.
And I think I'm going to be.
Wow.
That's good.
So that's how that happened. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
It was meant to be. You're
It
still
was.
here.
It was.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it here. I can't say enough good things about this company.
Yeah. I feel like it's so hard for people to see, like, in the midst of such a, like, it was heartbreaking to fail that first time and to
it was horrible.
not be given another chance.
Yep.
But only God knows, like, why those things happen, and He just led you to such a, hopefully, a better place.
Oh,
much. Yeah. So the place that you were supposed to be. So that's incredible.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, one of my questions was going to be, how was your CDL schooling experience? But you pretty much summed it up.
That was mine.
Mine was totally different.
Yeah. So you went to ICC?
I did.
Yeah.
And there was literally 3 of us in the class.
Okay. So you got a
And-
lot of truck time. Or
I did, but I was at night. See, I worked during the day.
Okay.
So I went to night. So it was like 8 weeks, and it was like from 6 to 10 or something at night. It was, or 5 to 9. It was I can't remember, but it was like 4 hours every night.
yeah.
So, but it was 2 brothers and then me.
Okay.
And so, and they were so funny. But, and even the instructor, actually, Mike, who is here as an instructor that came from ICC.
Sure.
He was my instructor.
Okay.
So he helped at night with us. But yeah, it was like when he was helping people with maneuvering, me and one of the other guys, we literally were like testing each other with like the parts of the truck under the hood, how to do the air down and all of that stuff. So we actually sat and we did do that with just 2. There was only 3 of us. So we actually every night got to do maneuvers, but it was like every other night, I think, because then the other nights we actually drove, but we all got the same amount of drive time and everything. But the experience there was so nice. And the one thing with ICC is Nussbaum was always at the top. Like if anytime anybody was recommended, it was like, well, Nussbaum for sure. And then, so then it's like there was a couple other places I hadn't heard about.
Yeah.
And so when I was trying to look for a job, I always sent a message to Carol, who was over the program there, and said, well, can you ask the guys, what about this? And some she sent back, and it was like, no, or yeah, it's okay. But she always said, though, this is just their suggestion. You can go wherever you want. So like she said, they might not recommend somewhere, but then you could go and it could be a great experience.
Yeah.
But it was just from what they knew. So, yeah, with that, it was great. Like, we had enough time, went over stuff, and then even there was another guy, Ken, that helped sometime cover, and same thing. They really helped and got you prepared. But I didn't never feel like before I even got the permit, one of those I actually failed.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was because I know it was the core knowledge and then air brakes, but I'm not sure if it was. But I failed one. It was by the last question. Either you pass or failed, and it didn't go through right. But the second time I did. But it's nervous when you fail the first time because you're like, okay, the second time if I fail now, this is like, if you fail the third, you have to wait 30 days. Well, the class is still going on without you. So you're behind at that point, so you probably would have to skip out and take it later. So it just stresses you out with that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's a serious occupation. Like, you want to make sure you really know what you're doing, but, oof.
And that's one thing, though, like, if anybody were to, like, get into the industry and have to pass even see, my thing is the CDL book, read the book. Like, in school, they have you highlight stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still stuff in that book when I went back, because I have to retake all of mine now again because my license in January, when they're up, I have to do every written one that I have on there.
Oh, wow.
My car, I have a motorcycle license. I
didn't know that about you.
Well,
There you go. There's something you
I
don't
have a
know.
motorcycle license.
Yep.
You do too?
I do.
Oh.
So, yeah. I have a motorcycle license, so like that I had to redo. I had to redo the core knowledge. Like, so I've started all these already since I've been off a little bit right now. So I've already started, but yeah, it's like I've read the books because even though, and I have an advantage because of already being a driver. But to redo them though, it's like, it's not that easy for some of them. So I suggest everybody read the book and read your material, not try just to memorize it. Because you're going to need it out here anyways.
Yeah. Does that material kind of make you want to fall asleep when you're reading it, or does it kind of keep you
Well, if
engaged?
you're tired.
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, though, like, see, I still have my CDL book that I had from school. And so I have all of the stuff highlighted because they have updated ones, but I still use my old.
Yeah.
And then I still have all my notes from school.
Yeah.
So it's helped me now to having to do them again.
Sound very organized.
So, not always, but I do keep certain stuff that I think will benefit me later on.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Well, yeah, going back again to just women in this industry, essentially you are a minority. So what are ways that you feel like are just a little extra challenging being a woman in the industry? And then maybe some ways that you feel like are just an opportunity, like maybe you're a little bit better with directions or something. I don't know.
I honestly don't know that it's any more challenging for us than it would be for a male.
Okay.
I haven't experienced that yet. I guess like the whole family juggling thing, males have the same juggle that we do.
Yep.
I feel like I consider myself an older woman in this profession. I am greatly surprised at the respect
Okay.
that I receive from the males in the industry. I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I've heard the opposite. You know, the rumors or whatever. I was pretty scared. Like, I didn't think that we were being accepted. I heard that the males didn't want the females in the industry and they're being rude. And I have completely the opposite experience. I can't tell you if there's a man walking into Pilot, for example, or Love's or whatever. I can't remember the last time I opened my own door. And I don't expect that, you know, but it's just the courtesy is overwhelming sometimes. I walked in, there was a line from the cashier way to the back, and I was like, oh, you know, I got places to be, you know, and I just kind of stood there, and he's like, ma'am, you can go in front of me. And he was like third from the register. I'm like, oh, no, thank you. But
everyone else is going to hate
those
me.
It's those kinds of things that I've experienced out here. It just, the overwhelming generosity is amazing. And I use I'm new, can you help me back? this is my first week. I used that for about 4 months. Can you please help me? I just knew.
I did too, so don't feel bad.
And everybody that I've ever asked has just been more than willing and happy and just
So they are like
helpful.
standing there kind of like telling, like waving you.
Oh, yeah.
Or, okay.
Yep. It's okay. Come on, you got this much room, you got that much room, whatever, so you don't hit something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a wonderful experience for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. I just, there's been a handful of women that have come through here in orientation that, or just talking to them that share these fears with me of like, oh, I'm just nervous about like where I'm going to park or what's going to happen and I never know what to say because I'm not a woman in the driver's seat.
Don't be afraid to ask because they will help. Everybody's just more than willing to help you. Oh, and the other thing, I was always nervous about parking at a truck stop because everybody's going to watch me, right? Everybody's going to watch me. But I now find that I watch everybody park. But I'm not watching to criticize them.
Yeah.
I'm watching to see how they do it. Their technique.
Yeah.
When are they going to turn their wheel? When are they going to stop swinging that back end? I'm not watching to criticize. So just keep that in your mind, too. It's not about laughing at you or recording you or whatever your horror story your brain is trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It's something I think that a driver enjoys watching somebody else park to see their technique.
Yeah.
So that kind of made it easier for me.
Yeah. Awesome. What about you, Julie?
No, I totally agree because I even tell students that I'm like when you're get out on your own or even now, watch. You don't always have the same setup. Every situation's different because a lot of people are like, I need a pinpoint. Like, when do I turn my wheel? And I'm like, there's not a certain point. But because in school you learn it to where you turn it all the way straight. You turn it this way, and I'm like, if you do that in a truck stop, you're gonna hit the front of a truck because we don't have that space. So it's true with that. It's like I'm like, just watch trucks, or even sometimes people aren't sure how to get out of truck stops. I know it sounds crazy, but they get turned around in there, and so I'm like, if you're sitting here, watch where trucks are going, and that will help you get out. Or just like you said with the backing, like watch their wheels. And I've had where I'm helping students get in because truck stops are the most nervous for students because they feel embarrassed and they're going to be watching me, and I'm holding the trucks up, and I'm like, if I can get it to where I can help you get back a little bit to let some of them go, but if not, I'm like, you got to park too.
Yeah.
And I've had guys get out, like I'll be up towards the front, and they even get behind the trailer actually, and they're, trying to wave them on too. So they help. I don't think I've really had any problems, but I'm always aware.
Yeah.
Like when I'm walking back to my truck, I'm walking in the middle of the road. I'm not walking near trucks. I mean, you might have to walk through them, but as I'm going back, I'm watching around my truck. I'm watching between my tractor and my trailer.
Yeah.
So if
Just 'cause
somebody were to
it's
come
tight,
out,
confined.
or even if somebody were to walk out from back there, like what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Can I get in my truck fast enough? I'm just always aware, but I definitely watch. I'm aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
And people may think I'm not, but I definitely am.
Okay.
But like she said, it's true though. A lot of the guys are very receptive and they're helpful instead of laughing or like she can't get it. And, I've had a lot of compliments even getting backed in places from women that have worked there, as far as, but that's one thing I strive for though. I'm like, it's a male industry. So for me, I'm very particular. I don't know if you remember, but
straight.
Yeah, it's like
centered.
I don't want your tractor angled because we look like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do that anyways because I'm like, if you're angled, a truck can hit you easier. But for me, I'm like, I don't want men to talk about, if they're talking about women, I'm not going to give them a reason to talk about me. I'm going to let them know I can do this just as good as you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah. And I've even like helped guys, like with stuff, and they almost told me like their hood, like it's heavy, and it's like, I'm looking like, don't even say it, and it was an older guy, and he couldn't get his hood up. It was an old truck, and the hood was heavy, and there was a pin that needed to come out, and he couldn't get it on his own. He needed the pressure off of it.
Yeah.
And I said, just tell me what you need. I'll help you. And he ended up letting me, and we got it. And he was like, I really appreciate it. And he almost kind of like, I wasn't sure if you were going to help me. And it's like, don't ever count us out.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is for me too, though. It's just like, don't knock me because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So, because it's like, I will break my back before I let you think I can't do it. So, not really, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's been good too, though. It's just always for women, I'd say, be aware of yourself, your surroundings. And some that I've been with, you know, somebody may knock and ask, don't open your door.
No.
And that's your first instinct, is just to grab that handle. And because I actually, probably within the last month, I had a guy do that. And we were parked for our 34 when we just went out west. And I was out in the truck, I think, cleaning it up. And she wasn't with me, and it was dark. And he comes and he's asking something, and I'm like looking, and he's like, I can't hear you. And I was like, I'm not opening my window. I'm not opening my door. You know, and so he's asking me like the traffic in the morning, and I'm like, he was driving like a car hauler type thing, his personal, and I'm like, how do you not know? It was kind of just really weird.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just like, don't roll it down all the way or open your doors. Just
Sure.
You don't want to be too scared, but just
Yeah.
always be aware. And to me, I'm going to protect myself no matter
Yeah.
what.
Just set boundaries to know
Yeah.
I won't do
Because
this.
that's the quickest thing,
night.
you know, like
Yeah.
somebody knocks like, hey, what do you need? And it's like your door is open at that point. So just protect yourself. And
Did you think of that yourself, or did someone advise that to you, or you just kind of common sense?
I think
or-
for me, it was like a common
Okay.
sense, but also I don't trust everybody.
Sure.
Like I'll talk to people,
Yeah.
but I'm not too friendly. Like if somebody says hi but I don't always give that eye contact for you
Yeah.
to be able to sit and talk to me either.
Sure.
And that's just maybe something that it could
Yeah,
be good or
just-
bad.
Just draw some
Yes,
certain
it's like-
boundaries just
yeah.
to make sure.
It's like hi, but I don't sit and talk too long,
Yeah.
you know, or I'm not going to sit out there, or I don't know. It's just certain things like that. I watch myself, but I don't want to. I'm not going to put my guard down.
Yep. Yeah.
Even 3 years in, I'm not going to put my guard down.
Yeah.
And you do the whole seatbelt thing. You
I
taught me
do,
that.
but I don't do it all the time. I'm not going to lie. I don't do that all the time.
What's the seatbelt thing?
Where you can strap your seatbelts to where if you put it around your door handle, and you can either lock it in like your seatbelt, or sometimes mine doesn't reach, and I've had to put it over the arm, the chair of the arm. And you can raise it or lower it, but it makes it tight to where, like, if you go to open your door, even if somebody were to be able to open your door, it only budges a tiny bit.
Okay.
And so at that point, for one, I'd probably hear it. But even sometimes it's good to do because there are other Nussbaum trucks.
Yep.
And so with that, sometimes I do it, and it's not that I'm scared, but I'm like, I would be so startled if they got in my truck.
Yeah.
You know, so with that,
Yeah.
it's just
I've
kind
opened another Nussbaum truck
See?
thinking it was mine.
Yeah.
Like, wait, this is not my stuff. Wrong truck.
And
Sorry.
so that would scare me,
Yeah.
especially if I'm sleeping or anything like that. So for me, it's like if I know and I see other Nussbaums, I will strap, because I'm like, if they accidentally come over, I don't want it to
Sure.
startle me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not scared of them, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh, they're going to get in my truck. I don't think anything like that. But like you said, and then I've had students that get in other trucks all the time. And it's like, that's not our truck.
I mean, yeah. So I've done that with a car. Like, oh, it looks just like my car. So
Yeah, they'll get in trucks and they're like, yeah, the guy was like, can you get your student? They're in my truck.
oops.
But yeah. So now it's just like a joke with her. I'm like, how many people's trucks have you gotten in this week? But so
Yeah. Well, unless they all look the same.
They
you just
do.
have to look at the number.
yeah,
So.
and like, and the thing is, sometimes at night, you know, you're just tired, you're ready to go to sleep, you're not really thinking, oh, there's other Nussbaums, you know. So yeah, I think I've probably opened a door in another one before, and I'm like, oh, not mine. So
Well, and the truck stops are so massive sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and especially when you're new, they're so big and there's so many rows. And if you don't pay attention to where you're parked, you come out and you're like, oh, man, where's my truck?
sometimes now though, going out, you're kind of like, okay, which way did I go, left or right? You know, you have to look, because you're like, you know, there's times in the morning I wake up and I'm just like, where am I even at? Where did I park? You forget, because you know, just through a week's time, in a week's time, and
So
you just
many
kind of
different
forget where you
spots.
parked. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah. So speaking of trucking and all that stuff, what do you guys like to do on your break time? You get 34-hour resets.
I go home.
Okay.
So actually right now, I'm actually regional.
Okay.
So I'm Monday through Friday, but when I train, I go everywhere. So
Sure.
I'm really not regional.
Yeah.
But I like the Monday through Friday just to have some normalcy. But like I said, I go out west. I go east. I go anywhere. And so on my 34s, I go home.
Yeah.
So with that, it's a little different. That's just the same as even like things for my truck that are a must. You know, like it's going to be different than Brenda's because
Sure.
Brenda more lives in her truck than I do. Because I go home, like I meal prep at home. I don't cook in my truck.
Okay.
You know, I need my microwave,
Yeah.
but I don't drink coffee, so I don't need a
What do you drink if you don't drink coffee? Just water.
water. And I've been drinking some unsweet tea. That's all.
Okay.
But I'm trying to drink water. So yeah, literally, I normally always have my Nussbaum
Yeah.
big cup that I got, and I always have a big jug that I fill, and I just refill it.
Okay.
So I try to do that. But like I said, I don't have to have like a lot of stuff because I don't cook in my truck. I don't. So I meal prep at home. I think meal prepping is a big thing too for the truck because if
Yeah.
you don't, that's where you stop. And when you go in truck stops, literally, you have to go in for what you went in for and leave.
Yeah.
Because if you start wandering, you're going to grab something. It's just too handy.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, that looks good. Or the last
So
thing I got
what's a
in-
healthy option from a truck stop?
From a truck stop?
Or like a Pilot or a Love's? Do they have anything that's
I mean,
kinda-
they have fruit and they have boiled eggs and stuff like that. They do have stuff like that.
Yeah. But
as
you
far as
really got to
food,
watch it
food,
because it's so expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
they really get you because they know they can.
I mean, there's Subways at some.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just depends as far as healthy wise what we're. See, to me, I'm like I'd rather just make like boiled eggs, or these egg things I've made in like a cupcake holder, and you can add stuff. I can do that. I can make bacon at home and reheat it. Fruit, like just stuff like that. And
Yeah.
because when I first started, I gained so much weight just because I was with the guys. I didn't want to take up their truck. What you don't want to take their
Right.
truck, and it's so much easier. Then you're like, oh wow. And then I think when we went out, we stopped in Idaho. City limits in Idaho.
Yeah.
And it's like a must. Like I don't
Yeah.
know how I found this place.
Yeah.
And I think I found it looking for a barbecue spot. And now every time I have a student, we go there.
What is it? A barbecue spot? Or?
No, it's not even a
No.
barbecue spot. It's just like
It's a
kind of like
pub.
it's a pub, but
Restaurant.
Yeah.
they have burgers.
Their fish
tacos
tacos are amazing.
They have like their Philly steak or something somebody had last. That was almost even better.
Wow.
It's just stuff like that. Their fries are good, but it's a small little town. It's a
Yeah.
cute little town, like a stream running through there.
Aw.
But not a whole lot, but just a little bit of food on the way. So I'm like, even if I'm on a diet and I'm going through there, I'm going to stop and
Yeah.
eat. So it's just little stuff like that. Or used to be Little America in Wyoming. I always had to stop and get their popcorn balls.
Ooh.
And they're really good, but like now I'm like, I got to pick and choose what I want. So it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the healthiest option is pretty much bring your stuff.
Yeah.
Meal prep and bring your own food so you know you have the snacks and you're not tempted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do on your
Yeah.
34?
I have a membership to, it's Walmart Plus membership. So no matter where I am, if I'm going to be there at least a night, or actually I shouldn't say a night, 34, or if I'm going to be there for more than a day or whatever, I can order groceries from Walmart and have them delivered to my truck.
Oh, wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, it's $99 for the, I'm not a Walmart representative, but it's $99 for the year.
That's not bad.
Do you get to park at Walmart too?
No. If I'm at a truck stop or wherever I am, they deliver to me.
Okay.
So I just put my address in there and they shop at the closest Walmart and bring them over. And there's no delivery fee. You paid $99 for the year.
Oh, that's
So
not bad.
I bought myself a freezer that I set between the two front seats. And in my freezer, I have healthy choice meals. I have 5 of them that I keep in there. And I have a bag of frozen chicken breast strips that I nibble on throughout the day. And then frozen hot dogs for Maury because he has to have his hot dogs. And so that's my freezer. And then my refrigerator that comes with the truck, I just have like I stock it with yogurt and applesauce and all that, cucumbers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what I found was the best for me as far as like grocery shopping. But on my 34, I have Maury, and he's just such a bundle of joy. So he doesn't ask for anything, right?
He's the dog, if anyone's wondering.
Oh yeah, he's my dog. Is he though? Is he a dog?
I think he's the captain of that truck there.
Yeah. But, he's just so good, and he just waits for whatever it is that I'm going to give him.
Yeah.
So instead of the truck stops, I do like to visit the rest areas because I never realized how beautiful they are.
Aww.
Like those rest areas are just, some of them are just gorgeous. Wow. And so we go for walks all the time. Like we're always walking. And even at truck stops, you just got to be careful where you go. But I like to get out and walk him and go where there's somewhere for him to play and that kind of thing.
Do you feel like the rest areas are even easier for parking and just getting around just because maybe there's less people?
I don't know. I don't like parking at rest areas because I still struggle with the angled parking. But I guess, I don't know. I kind of like the truck stops because I flipped my mindset to if I park at a truck stop, it's a challenge for me because I like to try to do a one and done. So the more times I can do a one and done, the better I feel about my parking. So I try to challenge myself in parking at a truck stop, but I do like the rest areas for walking.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like them for parking, but I like them for walking.
Most people say the rest areas because they like pulling in and not backing up.
I hate them.
And it's funny because I always challenge the students. I'm like, try to get out of that habit every day of going to the rest stops because if you do your 30-minute break at a, did I just say truck stop?
Rest stop.
Rest stop. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I said truck. So I try to tell them to get out of that habit of always going to the rest areas because I was like, during your 30, a lot of times it's during the day, so the truck stops aren't packed. And you at least have 2 empty spots together because that's what they're scared about. They're intimidated with the trucks. Yeah. And I'm like, at least if you're trying there, you're getting that experience. And, try to get in that spot. And like you said, see when that back end's starting to move. And, we always let it go too far. That's the biggest problem with the backing is everybody lets it get out of control. And then you're jackknifed before it's getting fixed. It's just the position they're in. But so like you said, it's a good thing to get out of that and try to
challenge yourself.
Back up more because you'll get more comfortable with it. Because like now, if anywhere, I'm parking anywhere.
Yeah.
But I've been like that for a long time. Like I run my clock down to the very end. Like I can have 10 minutes and I'm looking for a spot still, and it's like, oh Lord, I gotta find something. And then it's like, well, there's a gravel lot, like, and it's like. For me, though, that's something I've never been scared about. Like, there's times you get in certain areas, you got to be careful. Like, if you go to New York stuff, you do have to plan better. Like, you can't just, I'm going to find a spot.
Yeah.
But in the areas, like anywhere Midwest, pretty much, you can find something. One. Pennsylvania used to make some people nervous, but for me, I'm like, you know what? I'll find something. And then I always thought when people said make a spot, I'm like, what do you mean? And now I understand what they say when it's like park next to the scale or park here or there. But I still won't park on ends.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to leave myself to get hit. That's just for one, getting a truck damaged, and then it's taking me more time to sit there while I have to deal with all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can see that. Yeah, the rest areas are pretty.
Yeah. Do you feel like having Maury with you is hard for trip planning? Or just because, like, no, he's going to have to get out, go to the bathroom, or...
He's a piece of cake. It's my bladder that is the problem. 1 cup of coffee is all I need. But, no, he doesn't require anything.
Sure.
At all.
Yeah.
Just... Mom, the minute he hears those air brakes, he's like, is it time to go outside? So I guess that is the one challenge is when I stop for fuel, he always, is it time to go out? Is it time to go out? And gets excited, and I'm like, sorry, buddy, we can't,
Yeah.
But, no, there's no requirement for him.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
He's such a good kid.
Do you both feel like you have, like, a good support while you're on your own? I know you have, like, your driver manager and maybe you're friends with some people in safety or whatever, but who do you feel like helps you or is a support on the road?
for me, just definitely Chris, my DM.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for Chris.
Yeah.
You guys
Yes.
both have him.
Yes.
So it's easy to get you here.
Chris is amazing. Yeah. Just in everything. He makes something so easy, and it's,
Patient.
yeah, the patience. It's like, you could be stressing, and it's like, hey, you got this. It's okay,
Yeah.
or something. So definitely with that, depending what it is, for the most part, like now, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of challenges that, it's not like I'm worried about getting home or something like that, as far as support.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I don't really know, as
Yeah.
far as, just
Well, you
somebody
kind of
else.
are a support to a lot of people, being a road
true.
captain and
Yeah, I am.
so-
And that's just the thing. It's where, like I said last week, I left on Wednesday. I just got home last night. I went to friends in Kentucky. And, I've had a couple people even call me when I was gone.
Yeah.
And one of them was a new driver and had questions about something. And he called me several times. And like I told him, I'm like, it's fine. You can call me. And this was actually the first time I'd spoke to him.
yeah.
And had questions, and he had driven before, but like I let him know, and I think I've let everybody know, but even after that, I was like, hey, if you have any questions when you get up in the morning, it was only, after your 10 hours, I said, feel free to call me, I'll be up. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I said, you can call me anytime. I don't care if you wake up at 3 in the morning and have a problem. I said, 10 at night, 11. I've had people call me at 3:30 in the morning, or it could be
Because they're
midnight,
still driving,
or they just took off or run across something
Okay.
that early. And like I've said, I would rather you feel like you could call me, because
Yeah.
for one, I'm going to go back to sleep,
Yeah.
and for two, just knowing you have somebody you can call. Like say if you call dispatch or the phones were down, somebody new might panic, like, oh my gosh, I need help now.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, just pull over for a minute, breathe.
Yeah.
But like with that, I always try to be accommodating and help as much as I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll call somebody that, can, but most of the time I'm able to get it figured out,
Yeah.
So,
I remember that about you. When I was on the truck with Julie, there were, I don't remember the incidents, what was going on, but I'm like, well, why don't you just call? She's like, nope, I'm going to figure it out.
I think
She's like, there's 500 drivers. I'm going to figure this out. And she's just the determination.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this. I just got to think about it, and I just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And she's always, thinking about, there's so many more pressing things that they're dealing with. Like, I can figure this out on my own. So sometimes I think it's easy to pick up the phone and get help. Whereas if you just slow your mind down a little bit and think about it, you might just have the answer or
Yeah.
figure it out some other way. But,
Yeah.
she's very determined.
I'm very, even when I was newer, I did that. I got stuck in the very first truck. I've loved all of my trucks.
Yeah.
And this one here was obviously, super single, and so, my wheels all weren't turning together, and I was stuck quite a bit in the winter. And stuff like that, I was just like, it wasn't Chris, my DM then, it was somebody else, but I was stuck literally on barely an incline. I was stuck for 2 hours trying to get out. And they're like, do you want me to call you a tow? And I'm like, no. And I ended up getting out. It's like, there actually was I think a homeless guy that lived in his truck there. And he ended up coming, and I had to put socks on, and he went in these little woods, got sticks and pushed them all underneath, and
Wow.
I ended up getting out. But for me, I'm like, it might have taken me this, but it saved all that money for a tow. And then the same as one time when I was somewhere, I forget where it was, and I did something. It took me a while to get out of it, and I was in snow up to my knees, but it was the same thing. It was like sit and breathe and just think things through.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you don't need a tow at times, but for me, I'm like, if I don't need one, I will avoid it at all costs.
And it's probably very satisfying to be able to just figure out a solution, no matter how long it might take.
Yeah,
Just to,
and it's the mindset though of a lot of people is like, just call dispatch. And for me, I'm like, no, I'll figure this out. Because I know one time, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, it was a parking situation, and I was way out, it wasn't New York, but it was somewhere, I can't remember. Same thing. They're like, call dispatch. I call all the time. They help me. I'm like, no, I'm not calling dispatch. I'm like, I will find the parking and we'll be safe. And we did. So,
yeah.
but also that could be good or bad, like I said, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need their help, but I've always told, I don't think I told you back then, but I tell my students now too, though. I'm like, if you need to call your DM, call them. But if it's something that I can help, call me. I was like, I don't have that many people I deal with.
Sure.
But I said, if it's something you definitely need them for, call. But not saying you can't call them, but if it's something I can help, let me help. Like, they're dealing with a lot of other stuff. So if I can take one call, or also the big thing is send an email over calling. If it can go through an email, send an email and they'll get back to you when they can, or they'll call you.
Yeah.
That's what I do a lot. If I don't need it right then, I'll be like, hey, call me when you can, or say what I want.
Yeah.
And they can either email it back or they can give me a call.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they're on the phone with someone, but they can answer an email while being on the phone too.
Yep.
So that always helps.
So, yeah.
So I'm part of a Discord group,
Yeah.
a chat group, and there's like 8 of us on there. There's two males and the rest are women. I don't exactly know how many, but another driver here, Teresa Griffin, is in that group as well.
Yeah.
And she's a veteran driver. She's been driving for over 20 years.
Wow.
So I use her all the time. But, well, and you too, Chris. But, so there's like all of us, and we talk all the time on our headsets, just driving down the road, and we'll just talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
But if any of us ever need something, hey, I can't slide my tandems, this is happening, how do I get, everybody, I have 7 people at my fingertips to help me.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's not driving yet and you're running out of time and you got to find somewhere to park, they'll open their book, or we're also on Life 360, so you can see where everybody is.
Yeah.
So they can see what's near you, or, where you can go. So I have a lot of great resources that way.
Wow.
For help, and it's fantastic because it
Especially
helps.
if you're driving and they're able to look for you.
Yep.
It's like, I don't have enough time to stop. Like,
Yep.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
And that just
I
makes
love
you
that group.
just feel like you're a part of like a little community too.
Yeah.
It's just exciting.
Yeah, and it's fun because with being on Life 360 as well, we get to see where each other is, and sometimes we get to cross paths. And if time allows, we actually get to meet each other live, like in person, and we'll have lunch or dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually, when I went down to Florida, I got to spend my 34 with one of the women in the group, so
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And Florida's a nice spot to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a
it was
34th.
nice, yeah.
definitely.
Okay, what are 3 things that you guys can't live without in your truck?
Jesus in my heart. Because I'll tell you what, those 4-wheelers out there are crazy.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have Jesus in my heart, I would be, in bad shape. Maury, for sure. I couldn't do it without him. There's no way. And probably my Discord group.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and Chris. Sorry, Chris. 4 things?
Yeah. He's not technically in your truck.
Right.
So.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's hard. See, for me, I don't like. For me, like, I'm thinking like need like my microwave, my this,
Yeah.
like. But for me, like I said, I don't know. It's like I have to have my radio. See, for me, I listen to radio,
Okay.
or I'll listen to like a playlist on my phone. Like it goes through my radio, and
Yeah.
that, or sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. But actually, like I've been listening to the sports podcast.
Okay.
But yeah,
Which, like, it talks about any sports? Or
it's
just,
well, they're brothers. It's Travis and Jason Kelsey.
Okay.
They play. One plays for the Eagles. One plays for the Chiefs.
Okay.
Football, and they actually just played each other in the Super Bowl. Wow. And so they have their own podcast. So they talk a lot about football, but then they just kind of talk about just different things, and they do interviews with people, and they're just really down to earth. And I just kind of listen to it, and I'm like, and I do watch football, so I was like,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't watch any other ones, but theirs just kind of, they're funny, and
Yeah.
they will talk about other stuff. And like I said, they do interviews with other players or sometimes coaches. So I'll listen to that, but for the most part, or I talk on the phone.
yeah.
But I don't have a lot of quiet time. As far as sitting and reading, or any reading affirmations or any of that stuff, I either do it in the morning or at night.
Yeah.
Like, I don't play a lot of that through the radio. During the day for me, I like my music, or my phone. I mean, sometimes it might just be quiet, but for me, sometimes if it gets too quiet, it's just like I think too much, and I don't think that it's almost a distraction for me.
Sure. Yeah.
You
I
know.
can see
In your
that.
head,
Yeah. So for me, it's like I love my music, like, and that's what's hard sometimes because when I have students, I don't play music at first
Sure.
because
You don't wanna-
some people like it, but then others don't. But to me, I'm like it can be a distraction.
Yeah.
So
and
for a
people have
while-
different tastes in music. So.
Exactly. I'm pretty open with that. If anybody pretty much threw on something where I might ask them, I pretty
Yeah.
much can listen to anything.
Sure.
As long as it's not something where I feel like I'm being yelled at or,
Yeah.
you know, some of like heavy metal or some of that, I feel like I'm being yelled at or something. I'm like, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
But, and that's not even right away. That's a little down the line a little bit. But,
Yeah.
like I said, for me, it's pretty much just kind of the necessities, you know, your chargers, I don't have, like I said, I cook outside, so I need my microwave.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else I have to have. I mean,
You guys have like a special pillow or blanket or like I don't
I have to have a
any
lot of
comfort
pillows.
item like that you just
I have a lot of pillows. I literally have like a soft body pillow, fluffy ones. I have like 3 of those. I think I have like 5 pillows.
Okay.
But I have to sit up with my CPAP. Having
Yeah.
sleep apnea, I cannot lay flat. So I
Sure.
sit up a lot.
okay.
I'm not sitting up, but I'm at definitely an angle. I can't lay flat.
Wow.
So I have a lot of pillows. I don't
Does
know.
that ever hurt your neck or
No.
anything? No.
It's kind of, I'm raised up, but the top one is kind of like a flatter, like,
Okay.
there's a process to this, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, at home it's the same way. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, my grandkids or somebody comes, I'm like, do not take none of these pillows. These are mine. You can have all those. So I don't
I
think
have a lot of
certain
pillows too. I've got a big body pillow, and I've probably got 5 other pillows too. And I
Yeah.
also have a CPAP machine.
Yeah,
So
I
you
have
both,
to have that. Yeah.
So you both should have said the CPAP machine.
Yes,
That's
yes,
right.
you're
Yeah,
right.
That is a number one. For
Yes,
sure.
having that and I don't know. As far as blankets, I have probably 4 blankets on there, but some of them are like down at it's like you have a couple that cover up, a couple
Yeah.
at your feet, just because.
Because they look nice.
And yeah, but also sometimes in the winter though, I prop a lot of stuff up towards the bottom because I don't want that draft coming in the
sure.
window.
Yeah.
So I sometimes will prop some of the blankets or some of my stuff up down there to help from that. And my body pillow. Do you ever get air coming through the back, like the backside of your tractor?
No.
Like on your bed. See, sometimes I feel like air sometimes through there, so I put my pillow.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just a normal. I have all my clothes and
Yeah.
I have food. You know, we need your tools, certain tools and stuff like that for the truck.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
but other than that, chargers and I don't know.
Yeah.
The Discord group that I'm in, we did a Secret Santa exchange this year.
Aw.
And so one of the girls, actually the girl that got me for Secret Santa I met her at the training company that I
Okay.
had started with.
Yeah.
And we've remained friends, and now she's in the Discord group with us.
Aw.
But she got my name for the Secret Santa, and she got me a big blanket for my bed.
Mm-hmm.
And the blanket has a collage of Maury and Marley, the dog, my other dog that I had to rehome. But yeah, it's a collage blanket of the 2 of them, and I bawled again. I bawled like crazy because
That's
it's
so sweet.
honestly like the best gift I've ever received,
Yeah.
like from somebody. So
Just little stuff like
it
that.
was really cool.
Yeah.
We can use all that stuff in the truck.
Yeah, it was cool. So that's my favorite blanket.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'll end with one more question. And that is, what do you guys love about your job? What do you love about being here?
Everything.
Yeah.
Seriously, like just like trucking or Nussbaum.
Both. Yeah. You can say maybe one thing about both.
For me,
One thing about both.
right. I just, like in general, I think it's all around. I think everybody has to work together in every
Yeah.
department to make it a whole.
Yeah.
And so with that, I think it's just the friendly atmosphere coming in here. The shop is amazing. Just their communication if you call for stuff. But I think it's everything. Like our trucks they keep them up. That's a big factor for me
Huge.
was having a truck
Yeah.
that
Yep.
was taken care of so I'm not stuck on the road or having, blown tires all the time. So I think that's a big thing. Safety's not always people's favorites, but
Yeah.
I think they are all amazing in safety. Like when they call you, how they handle situations, even though, it might be a bad situation, but they talk you through it and they let you know kind of like, they have to let you know what's not good and but so with that, I think it's a whole.
Yeah.
But just in general, like the job, I just love driving. I love being out, seeing things. I think just everything really about it. Like,
yeah. Do you think that this job does give you a lot of financial freedom too? Like just with earning power, like just hopefully that helps too.
Yeah. I'm able, you pay your bills, you're able to travel.
Yeah.
It just makes things easier. And so when you're out here, plus you're out here and sometimes, I've gotten close. I've been able to go to Niagara Falls.
Wow.
I got 30 miles. I took an Uber. So, and Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
Yeah. So doing that stuff with students, you take an Uber, so that's a lot cheaper than driving your own car.
Yeah.
Plus, some of this I probably wouldn't fly to do or drive. So, and you see so much. So I think with that aspect, being able to go and do stuff, but also I think it's the freedom you have. But then you have deadlines to get stuff where it's at. But it's like you don't have somebody right behind you like micromanaging you. And so I like that aspect of it. And, it's harder, I think, when you're new to get used to that because it's like, this seems so tight, I can't make it. But I think all in all, I think just everybody, my home time, your home weekends. Sometimes that 34 was rough.
Yeah.
But you signed up for that also.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, I think it's just the balance is good. Here, there's a lot of different things, like the podcast, just different things they do, training, they offer a lot here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like everybody's in this with you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and even if your dispatch can't help, somebody else can.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think everybody here is amazing. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm pretty much on the same page. I think a couple of things, that the financial freedom and the Ramsey University I've started. Oh my gosh, I can't thank you guys enough for doing that.
Wow.
Because it's my world is completely changed from almost losing my home to starting to get debt free and start investing in my retirement fund and all of that is just amazing. But being able to just go and drive and see the beautiful nature and different parts of the world that I never would have gotten to experience ever before.
Yeah.
I am in such a good place right now. I think the best place I've ever been in. And I had another driver here tell me, it took a village. It really takes a village, Maya, bless her heart. Like if it wasn't for Maya being the student trainer and being as patient and kind and gentle as she is, I never would have made it through training. I was not easy. And even, safety, like you said, safety, there's rules,
Yeah.
I had to rehome Marley and it still breaks my heart, but I get it. Having too much on your truck is not a good thing, and I found a great home for him. Jeff King, actually the director or the instructor for the Nussbaum Academy, him and his wife have Marley.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a happy ending.
It is a very happy ending. And she's a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home wife, and they've got 3 other rescues, so he's in a really good place. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
He's living his best life. But, even safety is like, people love to complain about safety, but there's reasons for it. There's reasons why they do the things they do.
Yeah.
But Maya was amazing as a student trainer. Tian, like you said, talking to her on the phone when I was hired, and every time I come, she's just so warm and welcoming and on the phone, and everybody here is just, Chris, I can't.
Chris
I
kind of
need
reminds
help.
me of like a
I need
coach
help.
or something.
Yeah.
Like
I'll call him, I'll say, I need help. He's like, what did you know? I'm like, you don't want to know. Oh, boy. He'll go, oh, boy. But so calm and just, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. You got this, I don't know, for some reason that just the people that are here, they're supposed to be here because they do what they do really, really well.
Yeah.
And the trucks, when I was, a couple of the things that were really important to me in finding a place to drive for was safety.
Yeah.
What is safety going to say when it's storming out? Are they going to make you go and run? Because there are companies that do.
Oh, yeah.
Are they going to make me run in the ice and the snow and the blizzard? Or are they going to, like, how are their trucks maintained? Because I don't want to be sitting with blown out tires or rusted out parts or whatever, because there's companies that do send it, you know, and those were really important to me when I was trying to decide where to go.
Yeah.
And we have all of those. We, you know, all the check marks are there.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
Aw.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
sharing all that. Is there anything else either of you'd like to add before we leave?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
We've heard the good, the bad, the ugly. Not much ugly, actually, but
no,
okay.
not for the most part.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you guys
So,
so much.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Caleb from Nussbaum Recruiting, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1199 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Hope to talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into the conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.